Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So Dillian Whyte has a fight this weekend versus the undefeated Jermaine Franklin. And of course, they're making the rounds with promoting the fight. They recently had the final presser. And what was interesting that came out of that final presser was the fact that James Buddy McGirt, who is a Hall of Fame trainer, gave an admission that he did not watch any film on Jermaine Franklin. As a matter of fact, he does not watch film on any of the opponents. One more thing he added, he also never watched Dillian Whyte fight. So these are some interesting comments from Buddy McGirt. Now, I've heard these types of comments from fighters. I've heard Floyd Mayweather say it on several occasions that he doesn't watch film of an opponent. I don't necessarily expect a fighter to do that, but I do expect a trainer to do that. And I love Buddy McGirt. I love to hear his commentary. I love to, hear what he has to say about the fight game, so forth and so on. But in my mind, if you're training a fighter, regardless of, hey, if I train a fighter for everything, he'll be ready for everything. But a training camp is 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks max. You can't prepare a fighter for everything. So looking at the opponent that you have in front of you, that opponent and what that opponent's skills and weaknesses are will better serve you or better serve your fighter when they're in the ring with them, right? And during training camp, because you can focus on the things that they do well and focus on the things that they don't do well. Now, don't get me wrong. The comment that he made, and it was like, the opponent might get in the ring and not do that. Yeah, but I totally get that. But you look for tendencies and things that a fighter typically does in the ring. You look at attributes from a fighter, whether that fighter has power, whether that fighter has a good 1-2 combination, where his left hook is his best punch, his right hand, whether his stance is too wide, whether he drops his hand sometimes, whether he uses that little bow and arrow as he's throwing his jab. That type of stuff you want to look for because it gives your fighter the advantage. So I don't see any advantage, or I don't see anything, even if you want to prepare your fighter for everything, it doesn't hurt to understand what this fighter weaknesses and strengths are so that you can kind of tailor your game to that. I feel like his approach is incredibly inefficient. And, if you're bringing a fighter up from beginning to end, like you just trained that fighter from like when he was earlier, and you're saying that you're preparing that fighter to deal with anything that he would see in the ring, maybe that's one thing, right? But Dillian Whyte is a fighter that you just got a hold of, that you've never watched film on in your life. And so you don't even know what you need to go in there and work with this guy on to get him better. Because just because you go into a gym and you work with a fighter, what you see in the gym may not be what materializes in the ring. Sometimes fighters do weird things when they get under the lights that you say, oh, like, why are you doing that? We need to get you back in the gym and work on those things. So the fact that he doesn't watch film on fighters and that he didn't watch any film on Dillian Whyte that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, if I was a fighter listening to that and I heard Buddy McGirt say that he doesn't watch any film and that he never watched Dillian Whyte, I would never want him to be my trainer. And I know Buddy McGirt is an excellent trainer, but that didn't sit well with me. And then you got to wonder what Dillian Whyte thought about that. I'm sure that didn't leave him feeling settled. It looked like he, maybe that was a surprise to him. And obviously, he didn't ask the right questions relative to the interview process with Buddy McGirt, because you should have been able to find out whether or not he had watched you fight just by having a conversation with him, right? So asking certain questions, hey, what do you think I need to work on? Did you see this? Did you see that? Hey, this occurred in this fight. What do you think about this? Those are the types of questions that you would ask someone from an interview perspective to see if they understand your situation and what can they bring to your team in order to make you better. So if those conversations weren't had, or maybe they were had, and Buddy McGirt is just really good at answering those types of questions without even watching the fight, but I doubt it. He didn't ask the right questions, and it feels like right now he may not even have the right trainer in his corner. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this fight this weekend between himself and Jermaine Franklin. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section about what Buddy McGirt said. Do you think a trainer can actually effectively train a fighter without looking at both the fighter, past film, tendencies, weaknesses, strengths, as well as opponents, strengths, weaknesses, tendencies? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and I'm out.